You can roll the clay in your hands. And then you have these two high spots, so what you can do is push in the center with your thumbs and keep your hands kind of rounded around the side. Go about 1/8 of an inch down with your thumbs as you rotate. This is called pinching the clay. This is how you make something called a pinch pot. And you can actually make the bottom of your piece starting this way. And if it starts to get too wide, you just kind of squeeze it in. Squeeze it in like that. So now again, I squeeze in the middle. I rotate with my fingers pointed down around the bottom, and then I kind of pinch it in together with my thumbs and my forefingers to make sure it doesn't spread out too much, like this. Then what I do is I score it and then you can either use vinegar or you can use slip. And if you don't know how to make slip, watch the vinegar slip video. And what you want to do is just really rough this stuff up. Every 1/16 of an inch you want to have like a line. And then the more this is roughed up, the more the clay will bond together. You can get your slip and lay the slip into those grooves that you've created. Don't go too thick, don't go too thin. And then I always kind of do it on both sides, especially if my clay is starting to dry out a little. And when you make a pinch pot, make sure that the walls are 1/4 inch or less. So just take your needle tool, poke it, and bring your finger out. That's a little bit over, but it's not going to be too bad. I should have done this ahead of time actually. I can just squeeze it out a little bit more. But I want to make sure these still meet up, so I'm going to squeeze this out a little more too. And if I keep my fingers curved around it and I squeeze with my thumb, I can kind of keep the shape that I want. I'll match them up, rotate them together a little bit, and then what I can do is score this all the way around. Make myself a coil, and then I squeeze the coil in. And what I can do is reshape it and make this coil go into the wall a little. So I'm going back and forth. This is too dry, so I'm going to wet it. Just go back and forth over the seam. And that's going to make it real smooth and nice. Again, if there's any cracks like this, you want to fill them with first that scoring, and then a coil. Squish that coil down in there. Compression makes it stronger, so back and forth. Don't use a super huge coil. A small skinny one is fine. You don't need a ton of clay. So you're just going to make this thicker, and that's not what you want to do. Now, one way to help the center dry out more is just to add an air hole. And that'll help it to dry faster as well. And you can sit here and smooth it all day. Or you can just carve and make a texture. So I'm going to make this into a little bird, because that's just what I feel like making today, over and over again. So I'm just going to make his head shape. Notice how his head's starting to change. And then smooth out some of those holes. And again, don't forget the holes. So if this is his head right here, And this is his tail. I'm going to make the tail come out. Then there we go. Now he has a little bottom to him as well. So head, tail, air hole. You can make your air hole wherever you want. I don't know, tend to put them there. And the only reason for the air hole is because this is enclosed completely. If you wanted to make a salt and pepper shaker, what you could do is cut a hole into this. And at Aardvark and probably Blick and probably Michael's, they have corks that you can buy. And you could fit a little cork in there, so you can make them into salt and pepper shakers. Rough it up a little and score it, but this is pretty wet still. So there's his little beak, and just so you can see, I'm going to put a little eye there. I'm going to use this tool for his eye and for his other eye. And then he needs a little mouth, so I'm just going to do this and do this. And then shape this more. And then add a wing here. And he will need slip for this. Like that. Add a wing. So I just want to make sure they're equal, so I'm going to put it right here. Put some slip in there. Add the wing. Squish it in. Just push those in. Things that are this delicate will break, so you just have to go with it and know it might happen. Especially if you're in a classroom, someone's going to hit it and it's going to break off. What you can do is put things like this in a little shell, like dish in the kiln. And it won't stick to the dish, but it will keep the little feathers from falling off. And then I'm going to stick another one right up here. Just like that. Then I'm just going to carve a little bit of texture into his wing here. A little texture like this. And I'll clean that up once he dries a little more. But I just want to give him like little feather textures. Good enough. And then someone is back here. For his feet, I tend to pinch and squish until I have something that looks more like a bird foot. And then sometimes I'll use my fingernails to get that more pointed thing. And then around the little claws, add a little line around the talons so it looks a little more real. I love feet. Feet make me happy. And then I can just attach that on. Put them right here, so I'm going to score them onto the bird. And score this. Squish it in. Make sure his toes are doing what I want. There, he's got one chubby foot. And then do the same with the other. All of the bottoms of everything, because that's where people look. People always turn over pots. They turn over everything and they look at the bottom. So don't neglect your bottom. Make sure that you make it look nice. And I can clean up this slip later. It will shrink some. And then I can just take my needle tool and make it more defined there.